All right, guys, here I'm gonna do a couple more examples of factoring. All right, so again, we got factors, we got 4x cubed minus 49x. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this into a function. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if there's a greatest common factor between the 4 and the 49. So I am going to go to my calculator. Let me copy this. I can copy this from my last problem. And I'm going to make this into 49. All right, so it doesn't, the greatest common factor is 1, so basically they don't have any common factors. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm just going to graph this function. Let me get rid of this, menu 14, done. And now I'm going to enter the new function, 4x cubed. Minus 49x. All right, so press enter. And okay, you can see there's 3 zeros, which means I'm going to have 3 factors. So I'm going to go menu 61. I'm going to do this 3 times. Here's the first one. And then I'm going to do menu 61 again. Here's the second one. And then I'm going to do menu 61 again. And here's the third one. Now, so here are my 3 factors. It's a negative 3.5, there's 0, and it's a positive 3.5. Remember what I said. When you're factoring, I said this initially, when you're factoring, you can't have decimals, you can't have fractions. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of these. So I'm going to go to the iPad. And what I have here is x equals 3.5 or negative 3.5, x equals 0, and then x equals a positive 3.5. I'm going to convert these decimals into fractions. All right, that's the first thing. So I'm going to do 3.5, 3.5, and I'm going to do menu 22. And then I press this. So those fractions are going to be, I'm going to rewrite them. So this is going to be x equals a negative 7 over 2. This is still x equals 0. This is x equals 7 over 2. All right, so now, just like I did before, I'm going to make all of these equations equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract. So it's going to be, I'm going to add 7 halves to this one, to both sides. This is already equal to 0. Don't need to do anything. This one I'm going to subtract 7 halves from both, and we got 0. So we're almost done. Again, we don't want decimals. We also don't want fractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply. I'm going to multiply these both by 2. That's how I get rid of this. So this is going to be 2x plus 7 equals 0. This one is going to be 2x minus 7 equals 0. Now I'm ready to factor. I've got rid of the fractions, the decimals, so it's going to be x times 2x plus 7 times 2x minus 7. This is the completely factored form. If you want to, you could graph this, you can graph this, and they should be the same. If they're not the same, then that means you've made a mistake and you've got to figure it out. But that's it. All right. That's one factor. Now I'm going to do one more here. All right. So, all right. Now we got a trinomial here and they want us to factor. So I'm going to make this into a function, make sure it's in standard form. Now I'm going to check for GCFs. Now I have 3 terms I need to check for. So I'm going to do 16 and 18. So I go menu 25, and then I'm going to do 16 and 18. Where's some comma? 18, and the common factor is 2. So then that's the greatest common factor because the other term that I have is also 2. So the GCF for this is going to be equal to 2. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to graph this and find the zeros. There should be 2 at most. So if I go here, let me get rid of this, menu 14. And then let's enter this, 2x squared, 2x squared plus 16x minus 18. And then I am going to factor, and then I'm going to use menu 61 because I want the zeros. Once I know the zeros, then I also know the factors, menu 61 again over here. All right, so here are my two zeros. So x equals a -9 is 1 0, and x equals 1 is the other. So if I go here now, I can make these into set these equations equal to 0 by adding 9 to both sides. So I'm going to have this equal to 0, subtracting 1 from both sides. Right, so those are my two factors. So I can write this x plus 9 times x minus 1. And remember, I got my GCF that goes in front. There is my function, it's factored, we're done. Okay, that's it. So basically, make it into a function, find the GCF, whatever the terms are, the numbers are, find the greatest common factor that they all have in common, and then go ahead and graph it, find the zeros, change the zeros into factors, and then make sure that GCF goes out front, and you'll be good. All right, I'm going to sign off and post this.